Very good morning to everyone. Today we are going to see one of the toughest as well as the important topic in IGCSE biology. Yes, it is the circulation of blood in the heart. So, as soon as you see the heart picture in your A4 sheet, you have to mark the left side as well as the right side. Remember, your left side is the right side in the diagram which is given, and your right side is the left side in the diagram which is given. So if I mark that way, this is the right side and this is the left side. Soon after completing this, we have to check how the circulation happens in the heart. Now, heart is an important organ which carries the deoxygenated blood from all the parts of the body through an important vein called as superior and inferior vena cava to the right atrium. So this right atrium relaxes to push the blood inside the right atrium. Now, we have four important chambers in heart. So all these important chambers are playing a very significant role in the circulation of the blood. We have right atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. Now once the deoxygenated blood from the vena cava fills the right atrium contracts to push the blood through the right ventricle through an important wall which is called as tricuspid wall. So this has three cusps in them and hence the name came tricuspid wall. Now once the right ventricle is filled, it pushes the blood through the pulmonary artery wall. So this pulmonary artery wall, it opens in the upward direction to push the blood through that, and this pulmonary artery sends the blood to the lungs for purification. So the deoxygenated blood is purified to oxygenated blood in the lungs. So this oxygenated blood is taken by an important vein called as pulmonary vein into the left atrium. Once the left atrium is filled with oxygenated blood, it sends the blood to the left ventricle by contracting through a wall called as bicuspid wall. The bicuspid wall has only two cusps in them. So as the blood is filled in the left ventricle, it contracts to push the blood through a semilunar wall which is called as aortic wall in the upward direction. So this aortic wall sends the blood to the aorta. From the aorta, the oxygenated blood is taken to all the tissues of the body. Now one important fact we need to check. Here, when you look at the walls of the right ventricle as well as the left ventricle, when you compare that with the right atrium as well as the left atrium, it is thinner compared to that of the ventricles. The ventricles walls are usually very thick because it is pushing the blood with high force to different organs. For example, the left ventricle is pushing the blood to all the parts of the body and the right ventricle is pushing the blood to the lungs. But one more fact is the left ventricle wall is considerably thicker than the right ventricle. This is because the left ventricle has to push the blood to even more distant organs and the right ventricle is only pushing to the lungs. Okay. Now, talking about an important muscular tissue which is dividing the heart is called a septum. Septum prevents the mixing of oxygenated as well as deoxygenated blood. And it is preventing the right side deoxygenated and the left side oxygenated blood being in contact with each other. We have some more important things to note here. We have four important walls in the heart. They are atrioventricular walls. It is between the atrium and the ventricle. They always open in the downward direction. The atrioventricular walls of the heart are tricuspid in the right and bicuspid or the mitral wall in the left. The semilunar walls, which always open in the upward direction, they are pulmonary artery valve in the right side and aortic valve in the left side. Now we need to remember atrioventricular valves always open in the downward direction and the semilunar valves always moves the blood in the upward direction. Now these valves, they are meant for preventing the collapse of the blood flow because they always move in one direction. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.